This is Q13 News This Morning with Kaci and Travis.
Good morning. As the good man said, you're watching Q13 News This Morning with Kaci and Travis. I happen to be Kaci.
Today.
Just today. I mean,
not tomorrow.
Who knows?
I think I'm Travis. Some days I'm not.
One of those weeks.
But here's what we're focusing on this half an hour.
Computers can be hacked, smartphones, cars, but ships? Maybe ships too now, but why? What's the risk around here? We're going to dig into that ahead.
Also, charcoal scrubs, pore vacuums, sonic brushes. Do any of these things actually work on your skin? Do you use any of these products?
I do. I'm really hoping some of them
I know,
work.
right? So the definitive answer on all the trendy products right now from a doctor who knows later in the show.
And you know Hello Kitty, but she has some new friends you may not know, and they are pretty hardcore. What's up at Sanrio coming up?
Also, Tyler, a very important discussion on Facebook this morning. What is it?
That's right. We want to know, do you dream of trading places with someone, and who would it be? Maybe a celebrity or an athlete? Facebook.com/Q13Fox to join the conversation.
All right. Thank you, Tyler. But first, for the second time in a week, a man was shot and killed at a playfield in Seattle's Rainier neighborhood. This was last Friday.
And then just a few days ago, another shooting left a man injured at Golden Gardens Park in Seattle's Ballard neighborhood. And these are just the latest incidents of gun violence happening across several different Seattle neighborhoods in recent months. But why is this now happening?
We went to Brandy Cruz. She's covered this for a long time around here. We asked for her perspective. It was a fascinating conversation. She says, look, it's a combination of multiple things. According to police, gang violence is a huge part of it. We're in sort of a gang uptick, a gang feud, she called it. But also, it's the time of the year and more people being out and about because of the summer months.
Yeah, so how is law enforcement tackling this? Part of their approach involves a fascinating piece of technology.
They have proactive approaches and then reactive. So proactive approaches could range from increasing patrols so that they're just more visible, that they're in those hot spots. There's a patrol car there, so it lessens the likelihood that something would happen. It could be reaching out to at-risk youth to make sure that they're not getting involved in these types of things, that kids that are at risk of falling into that sort of life. And then there's also reactive things to make sure that when there's a shooting, we're holding people accountable. The ATF has this interesting program that SPD is able to use, computer program called NIBIN, and I got to think of the acronym. It's the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network. It sounds boring, but it's essentially a national fingerprint database for shell casings. So we have a lot of shootings where somebody reports a shooting and police get there and all there are shell casings on the ground. What NIBIN allows them to do is to literally treat every shell casing like a fingerprint. They know exactly what gun it came out of. So they're able to link shootings to one another. And then if they arrest someone, say a gang member who has a gun, and they test that gun, they would be able to say what shootings that gun was used in simply based on the shell casings that were left behind.
Fascinating, right?
Yeah.
Well, Brandy also made an interesting point about how this violence is covered, and this is where we might need to take some responsibility. She said we all need to take an honest look at our approach, both in society and the media.
So I will say, we need to do a better job, and a better job in the press as well, about talking about this issue and raising flags about this issue before it gets to the point where, oh, a park where mostly white people go, there was a shooting and now we're concerned. And so I think making sure that we keep it at the forefront even before it reaches the levels of becoming a gang feud or something that we're all taking note of because of the neighborhoods that it happens in, that's an issue. That's something that we need to address. And I think as a society, we need to make sure that we don't only care when rich neighborhoods are impacted.
Another point that Brandy makes is that this is not just a big city issue.
It's not just a Seattle problem. I really want to stress that. If you're living in Des Moines, if you're living in Kent, if you're living in Renton, if you're living in Tukwila, if you're living in SeaTac, you are seeing the impacts of this just as much as we're seeing in the city, in the middle of the city. And so absolutely, it's not just a big city problem. And we have some other, in Yakima, for instance, we have a serious gang issue there. And so it doesn't discriminate based on city or rural or whatever. And so that's why it's increasingly important that we are looking at it as a regional issue and that we continue to work together, not just as SPD, King County Sheriff, FBI, ATF, but they're coming together collectively. They're using all of their collective resources to try to come up with solutions to the problem.
One other point that she made that I thought was interesting was that we really shouldn't compare ourselves to other cities like Chicago or LA, that we really are safer in a lot of ways when it comes to shootings. We have much less gang violence and violence in general, but that doesn't mean the problem isn't something that we shouldn't take very seriously and address, because it does bleed into all of our neighborhoods.
Yeah, and I love what she said about it being a regional issue. I think so often we focus on the exact area where it happens, but this impacts all of us.
Yeah, we're going to keep covering this. I know she's going to actually do more reporting in that NIBIN system maybe next week, so we'll stay with her on that.
Yeah, I can't wait to find out more about that. So we've talked before about how computers can be hacked, right? Computers in your home, your office, your car. Or, it turns out, even the ships cruising right now through Puget Sound. The startling possibility came to light this week when a group of cybersecurity researchers said they had discovered that the way certain ships configure their satellite antenna system allows hackers access into the ship's navigation controls. In theory, that could mean hackers could reset a ship's GPS coordinates or lock the captain out entirely. This is alarming for a lot of reasons. Chief among them, though, is the possibility that hackers with ill intentions could literally take control of a ship and aim it for a sensitive spot and then lock the captain out. At that point, the hackers could do something like demand a ransom or maybe crash the ship into a military base, a bridge, or a touristy place. Now, the good news is shipping companies now know about this vulnerability because the good guys made it public, so it can now be fixed. But it proves an important point in our current age. If something, no matter its size or function, is connected to a computer network of any kind, it makes it vulnerable to hackers who may not have the best of intentions.
It is better to know, at least to know that we can fix it. Thanks,
Yes.
Casey. Hello Kitty has been the face of cute since she was introduced here in the U.S. in the late 70s. I've been a fan since then. The company behind the cat with the pink bow and no mouth is now doing something decidedly not so cute with a number of new characters. Meet Agretsuko. On the outside, there she is right there. She is an adorable red panda who works in an office in a big city. But this 20-something red panda is much more than she seems. As her coworkers demand and demean and debase her, she smiles and keeps on working, and then she explodes. I mean, look at this. Take a look at this. This is a Sanrio character. She erupts in this animalistic rage. She transforms into an anger ball ready to strike and destroy. She binge drinks. She karaoke's all night and parties. Can you relate? Yes. The creator says that, look, they actually know that you can. They share the same creator, Sanrio company, she and Hello Kitty. They also created another character, this guy right here. This is Gudetama, literally a gender ambiguous egg yolk with a little tiny butt crack and a baby voice, often just seen lazing around on pieces of bread and plates. He's angsty and existential. These two characters decidedly not like Hello Kitty at all, but still at the same time exactly what she did for so many decades, capturing the current global mood, the desires and the wishes of people across all cultures. And they do it without a mouth, for at least Hello Kitty, from someone's plate when it comes to the little egg yolk over there, and then her. I would not want to mess with her. It's just interesting that Sanrio is redefining itself with these new characters, and it all started with the little kitty with no mouth.
I think she's my spirit animal, the ragey one.
The ragey one.
What is it about, like, watching someone else get ragey and be real like that makes you kind of go, ah, that feels good.
We love it. We just love it. I think somewhere deep down, this is actually the latest incarnation of Hello Kitty. I think
right.
She didn't have a mouth for too long, and then she became Ragey Panda.
Now. I love it. Well, speaking of, like, maybe you're ragey because you've had a rough day or a rough time, and maybe you then look at someone else who seems to have the perfect, most fascinating life, and you think, I would love to trade places with that person. We definitely have. But why do we do it, and is it really what we want? Take a look. This is an opinion piece in the New York Times that really got us thinking about it. If you could be someone else, would you? It could be someone famous like George Clooney or Beyonce, perhaps.
Or maybe it's just that coworker or friend who always seems to have their life figured out. Like you. The author of this piece makes an interesting argument about why trading places with somebody, even for the day, may not be what we really want after all.
Yeah, he argues what we really love in life centers around the relationships we've built. So if we had to trade with someone else and still be ourselves, those relationships would go away. So we wouldn't be connected to the ones that we inherit by becoming someone else. Maybe we wouldn't like it as much. So why do we so easily go down the path of, if only I could be that other person for a day? Well, this was an interesting article on this site, Day Job to Dream Job, and it outlines some interesting reasons in this article, the real reason why you wish you were someone else.
Because the idea of changing seems harder than being someone else entirely. Right? That's how tough it is to change.
Yes.
We know our own weaknesses. We know exactly what will hurt us and why.
The other point they make is other people seem to be in a better position than us. We're not inside their heads, so we just project what we think it's like to be them. And when you've got social media, everybody's putting their greatest hits out there, so we're like, they have it perfect.
Of course.
That's why I want to be them.
And then to cope with pain, we escape to our present, and sometimes it feels easier to detach from something difficult, freeing us up to imagine being somebody else would just be easier.
Yeah, because they don't have the stuff and the crap I got to deal with.
Right.
And this really, it was when we first started talking about this, we were in our conference room.
Yeah.
And we all started talking about how we compare ourselves to others.
Constantly.
And it became this very long conversation.
Yeah.
So we brought Tyler in on. Do you guys compare yourselves to others?
I definitely compare myself to others, but I think it'd be cool to trade places with someone just for a day.
And then go back.
And then go back, because, you know, I know what I'm getting with myself.
Right.
You don't know what you're getting with someone else. Like, it'd be great to trade places with Russell Wilson, but maybe not on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yes, too much pressure.
A little too much pressure.
What
You'd want to see it as like exploring it and then coming back, not like, oh, I just love your life and I'd like your life
forever.
Would you?
I am a really bad comparison person.
Yeah.
I compare myself to everybody else around me because I assume that everyone knows how to do it.
Yeah.
So in my mind, all of you have it figured out. You have figured life out, and I think, well, I just missed the class on that.
Yeah.
You?
Yes, I constantly am ranking myself compared to other people, and it's awful, and I wish I didn't do it, but I'm like, oh, I'm not as hot as this person is, so I have to act like I'm not as hot as they are, or I'm not as popular as this person, so I have to act like I'm not as popular as this person. I'm constantly in this crazy, in my head, social ranking, which is ridiculous because, honestly, more often than not, I realize I'm totally wrong when I actually get to know those people or I get to know it in a social setting. So I should stop doing it to strangers on the street and just be happy with who I am.
It's a waste of time, right? Don't you think?
I do, yeah. So we're talking about this on Facebook right now. So head there, join in the conversation. Who would you trade places with? We want to hear from you, and we'll talk about some of those responses later on.
Could be anyone.
Interested to hear what you have to say about all of this. All right, so we spend thousands of dollars every year on skincare products, whether it's to make us look younger, to fix our pores, or to tighten our skin.
Yes to all of those things. But which products are useful and which are useless? We brought in some of our own products because we're
like that.
We're like that, and we're going to ask a local dermatologist to break it down for us on your behalf, coming up next. Good morning and welcome back. So we spend hundreds or maybe even thousands of dollars a year on skincare products.
Yeah, but which ones really work and which ones are, I don't know, useless? We're wasting our money.
We are putting it all out there because we brought in some of our own products. We have dermatologist Dr. Neha Parikh with Kaiser Permanente to help us with that. So we had some of our products that Travis and I used. We asked a bunch of our coworkers to bring in some of their methods, and we are at your mercy to just be honest. And again, we're not talking about brands. We're just talking about kinds of products. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's start and work our way down, if you wouldn't mind. This is our own Brandy Cruz, who says she squeezes lemon onto cotton balls and applies it directly to her face. She thinks it keeps her lighter, it keeps her firmer. What do you think?
Well, this is actually one that I would not recommend because when you apply lemon to your face, and if you happen to go out in the sun, you can actually get a reaction called a phytophotodermatitis, where she may actually get redness, she may get discoloration, and sometimes blisters. So this one is not one that I like my patients to do.
Interesting.
Okay, all right, that's good to know.
What about the pore strips? And there are lots of different kinds of these, but the idea being you stick them on your face, you wait a little bit, and when you yank it off, all the dirt comes out.
And it seems so satisfying when I do it.
It is satisfying. And I think they're a good temporary fix. One, you want to be careful that you don't irritate your skin. The other thing is that they don't do anything long term. So if you are really thinking about how do I get rid of my blackheads and prevent blackheads, I tend to tell patients, let's talk about a prescription tretinoin or retinoid cream, or products over the counter with retinol. So great quick fix. I mean, it is satisfying. but it doesn't prevent new blackheads.
So what about the charcoal stuff? I mean, that's
Yes.
kind of everywhere right now. Holy
Trendy right
moly,
now.
is that everywhere? And I'm going to just be honest, this is mine. I use this every single
And
day.
this one's mine. I use this every single day. It even has the
So
grease on
give it to us straight, Doc. Is charcoal ridiculous?
So the theory is that charcoal binds toxins, it might bind impurities, it might bind dirt, and help to cleanse your face better. That's the theory. Are there true studies to really show scientifically that this works? We just don't have enough data. Sure, I think in theory it's a great idea, and if you love it, I think it's fine to use, but we're still waiting for more science.
What if this didn't have charcoal and it's just a sponge to blot away
Oil.
my oil? Is that okay?
It is okay, yeah.
I'm going to do this, and then in 20 seconds I'm going to have to do it again because it's awful.
Well,
Does
it's
this work?
a great temporary fix, right?
Temporary.
It's a quick fix before a meeting or before for you going on air, but is it preventing oil production? No.
Is there a long-term preventing oil production? Is that a prescription conversation or a routine conversation that you can have?
There are such as retinoids that might help decrease it, but there's not really something that's going to long-term.
Yeah. So short-term really is the answer to make yourself less shiny.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good.
That's really what we're calling this product.
Milky Jelly Cleanser.
Yes.
Milky Jelly Cleanser.
Milky Jelly Cleanser.
So I advise my patients to use a gentle cleanser. So the Milky Jelly Cleanser is a gentle cleanser that is supposed to also help better remove makeup. So the one complaint I do get from very gentle cleansers is patients sometimes feel like it doesn't remove enough of the makeup. And so that is the claim behind this product.
Which kind of leads to, well, I guess the scrub, but I want to ask about cleansers that have the little things in them, like little pieces
Exfoliating beads.
Which I know they have their own environmental problems, but
Right.
from a face exfoliating perspective, what is your thought?
The problem I see a lot is that people are over exfoliating. So I think periodic use is fine, but when someone uses that twice a day and their skin is irritated, and especially acne patients, they think the drier the better.
Yeah.
That's just not true.
Because that's going to make you break out even more and produce more oil. Your skin kind of goes overdrive, right?
And healthy skin is not dry, irritated skin.
Good point. Valid
True.
point.
True.
This looks delicious, but this is actually who brought this in?
I'm
This
not
is
sure.
a brown sugar
Oh, Alyssa
and
brought this in.
olive oil scrub that one of our producers swears by.
Yeah.
So brown sugar is supposed to have exfoliating properties. I would say it's great to use on elbows, knees, your feet, because it can exfoliate.
Okay, so that's a decent product and not bad to use. All right,
Not bad.
Cool. How about the brush-on sunscreen? I bet you're going to say yes to sunscreen.
Sunscreen is an absolute for everyone's regimen.
Yeah.
I will say for these, I think they're great as a way to reapply, because you can put them on top of makeup. They're quick and easy to have in a purse. I think many people forget to reapply, and I think it's critical to reapply every few hours.
So this might not be so bad if you're adding it to already.
Exactly.
sunscreen
That's
that
how
you
I
have.
view it in your regimen.
Interesting. This is an example of something that a lot of people have. I know a lot of you
Yes.
watching at home use a firming cream of some kind, whether it's in the jar or underneath the eyes or over the entire face several times a day.
No, stop.
What are you? what are your thoughts on firming creams?
So what I tell my patients is that they may improve. They may cause some improvement. However, the claims are often exaggerated. They are not the same as, doing a surgical facelift. And so it's having realistic expectations from these things. And then the thing I tell patients is the more expensive the cream, it doesn't necessarily mean it's better or that there's more science behind it. It's often you're paying for packaging and marketing. And a lot of these products don't have well-controlled scientific studies. And so as a dermatologist, I like to look at science, and we just don't have a lot to back these up.
We only have a couple seconds left. Do you have any just simple advice for like daily routines that you say, hey, do these 2 things or 3 things regardless of the product?
So number 1, sunscreen. So sunscreen, because it's all about preventing damage, especially I tell younger patients, it's easier than treating. Looking for products with retinol, because those do have good science to help improve your collagen, improve fine lines. And then an antioxidant cream in the morning can be very helpful, something with vitamin C. So those are some products I tell my patients to look out for.
Okay. And cheaper isn't necessarily bad. In fact, it could be great.
It could be great.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dr. Parikh, we really appreciate your insight. Hopefully this helps a lot of people at home, and it'll help you avoid some of the unnecessary trials that we go through with every new product that hits the market. To learn more about Kaiser Permanente, you can just head to kp.org.
And still ahead, a heartfelt surprise for 2 kids as 2 parents actually get Mickey Mouse to help deliver some really exciting news.
You won't want to miss it. It's amazing. And take a look at your screen right now. This is our weekend trivia. We're going to have the answer on the other side of this break.
All right, welcome back. Take a look at your screen for your weekend trivia. 68% of people say vacation was ruined because of this. And Kaci, what's your answer?
I thought it was a fight with a significant other, because I can see how that would happen.
Yeah, I thought it was the room, a bad room.
Yeah.
That feels like...
So we are in disagreement.
We are in disagreement. Tyler, I think, agrees with you.
B.
You think it's B?
Yes.
It's the worst.
The fight.
And not necessarily a bad fight. It's just like a little fight. All right, what's the answer? What's the answer?
Oh! No! My boss has never... This is not even kissing up.
68%?
My boss has never ruined a vacation.
No, never.
No boss. And I've had, not at this job, but in other jobs, I've had bad bosses, and
Right.
they've never ruined a vacation.
Can I just say, and if our bosses are watching, earmuffs for just a second, if your boss calls on vacation, just don't pick up.
Don't pick up.
Don't pick up the
Except
phone.
turn off your email.
That's
I mean,
not
I don't
you.
do that. But
turn it all off.
Right. Don't let the boss ruin your vacation.
No.
A bad room, though. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
All right. So we all knew Disneyland, speaking of vacation, a place where dreams come true. So what better way for a pair of foster parents to tell their foster kids that they are adopting them?
Love this story. The couple decided to celebrate the joyous occasion at Disney World with a little help from the big mouse himself. Take a look.
Stand with Mickey, guys, for y'all. Great. Cool.
So fantastic. Foster parents Courtney and Tom Gilmore planned out the whole surprise for 12-year-old Janelle, 10-year-old Elijah. With the help of park officials Mickey and a little magic, they announced to the kids they were becoming a family, a full-fledged family. Oh,
That
look at that
moment where they
reaction.
realize it is just precious. The couple said they had to wait 3 long years for this adoption to go through. So they're saying they hope it draws more attention to the foster care system and just the joy it can truly bring so many people.
I love it.
Such a great story.
So if you could be somebody else, like Mickey Mouse, would
Yes.
you do it?
Ooh, at least for a day,
Right?
Mickey. Yeah, that's what we're talking about online right now. So Tyler, what are people saying on Facebook? What do you think?
I'm actually surprised at how many people are saying they're happy with themselves and they don't want to trade places with anyone,
Awesome
even for a
for
day.
you.
Lisa says it's a waste of your energy to compare yourself to anyone else.
So basically,
kudos.
all of our viewers are amazing people
A lot of
that
them,
we need
yes,
to learn
all
from.
of them.
Can we
all of
trade
them.
places with them?
I think that's
Can
a
you
great
reply
idea.
back to them?
Well, a lot of people have been saying they'd like to trade places with the two of you.
No, they do not.
Yes.
No, they do
They're
not.
saying that. You're a fashion icon, so they'd love to trade places with you,
I
Travis.
would trade places with Travis
Yeah.
in a second. Fashion icon.
Fashion
indeed.
icon. Yeah.
Andrea does agree with your point earlier. She says, I'm just like Kaci. I assume that everyone else can adult better than I can.
That's a great way to
Yeah,
put it.
that is really perfect.
And it's like, did you all get manuals on this? Where did mine go? It's lost in the mail.
Yeah, the dog ate mine long ago. I have no idea what I'm doing. You do not want to be me.
So
do
sad.
this.
It's
Crazy.
a good lesson, though, because if so many people aren't comparing themselves to others,
I'm impressed.
let's focus on what we can do for ourselves. Everybody has their problems.
Yeah, it's fun to daydream, though. I mean,
It is.
Being Mickey and like telling foster kids that they're becoming a forever family, I could do that.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
I could be happy
Yeah.
about that.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Remember, we are here every Friday morning at 9:30 on Q13 Fox and every Saturday and Sunday morning, 6:30 on Joe TV.
Hooray!
Hooray! Have a good one, guys.